Hey, it's Phil, and here we are with Q&A number five. Five? I think it's five. And so the question today comes from Evil Dave. Evil Dave, you know Evil Dave. He's always here. And Evil Dave asked me if I could go back in time and be the writer of a particular song, which song would I choose? And Dave, that is a big question that I don't have a specific answer for, but I probably have multiple answers for. So, because there's different ways to think about it, right? If we think about it monetarily, then I'd want to go back and write White Christmas by Irving Berlin, which I am not a Christmas music fan by any stretch of the imagination. If you've ever heard my Christmas songs, you know I'm not a Christmas song fan. But White Christmas is the biggest selling song of all time, the Bing Crosby version specifically, and written by Irving Berlin, a Jew. All right, I can get behind that. That's great. I like that. By the way, the rest of the top five of the biggest selling songs of all time. Number 2 is Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. Number 3 is Despacito by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee. Number 4, Candle in the Wind, Elton John. But the 1997 version, not the original version, the one he redid for Princess Diana. Okay. And number 5, In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry. What? That's the number 5 biggest selling song of all time. Great song. I had to look it up because I couldn't place it in my head when I read that. Go look up In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, that song. That's a great song. Okay. Such a weird one to be number 5, though. Anyway, so from a monetary standpoint, White Christmas is the obvious choice. And as Christmas songs go, I do like that one. It's non-religious. It's just about snow. Okay, fine. I like it. It's got a great melody to it, too. And how can you go wrong with Bing Crosby? I mean, Dean Martin over Bing Crosby for me. But Bing Crosby is not bad. The other thought that I've had many times over the years is like, man, I would love to write a song that gets played at wedding receptions forever. And if you ever heard me do the bit about Kool and the Gang, I talked about that a little bit. It's not a bit I did for very long. But a song that would get played at wedding receptions like for the rest of time, like Celebration by Kool and the Gang, or Love Shack by the B-52s, which I think is a great, awesome, silly, ridiculous song, and it'll be played at wedding receptions forever. So probably Love Shack by the B-52s. I do love that song. But then there's the whole artistic standpoint, right? And there's no one answer to that. There are so many songs I wish I could have written, because that's what I'm always attracted to as an artist, whether it's comedy or music or anything else that I'm doing. I always go, if it's something that I go, oh, I would have never thought of that, and that's amazing. That's the stuff that I really wish I could have done. And as comedians, we hear it all the time. The best compliment you can get from a comedian is, God damn, I wish I'd have thought of that. And I've said it to people, and people have said it to me, and that's fun. But musically, so if we're really thinking artistically, I think Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys would be one that I wish I'd written. A lot of people find that song a little bit cheesy now, like they'll opt for God Only Knows or In My Room or something like that. Both great songs. There's so many great Brian Wilson songs. But Good Vibrations was so groundbreaking from both a musical standpoint and a technological standpoint. He called it a pocket symphony, where there was different movements. It's really built like a symphony. It's built like a 3-minute symphony, or it's 3.5 minutes, whatever it is, where it goes through these drastically different movements before coming back to that chorus at the end. And if you've ever heard any of the bridges of my songs that go wildly off somewhere else, that's that Brian Wilson influence happening in my head. Good Vibrations is a song that I go back to mentally a lot. And then from just a purely pulling on the heartstrings type of song, sometimes it Snows in April by Prince. It's my favorite Prince song. And I don't know that even he could have written it outside of the context of the movie that he was writing it for, Under the Cherry Moon, because it's a character piece. And maybe he would have written it, regardless, but it is within the voice of the character from that film, in the voice of the side character in that film, believe it or not. And if you've never seen Under the Cherry Moon, it's a weird movie. It's not Purple Rain, but it's a fun movie. I like it, and the music from it is really, really great. So Sometimes It Snows in April by Prince. That one I wish I'd written. And then there are other ones. There are other particular artists where, like, half their catalog I wish I'd written, where I just listen to it and I go, oh man, I wish I had the chops to do that. Jellyfish is a good example, a band from the 90s who were doing sort of a Beatles-esque Baroque pop kind of thing. So many great songs in their 2 albums that they put out. Spacehog is another one. Another 90s band, underrated. Like, if you've only heard In the Meantime by Spacehog, you have not heard Spacehog. There's so much great, weird, goofy stuff on their albums. And then, of course, you've heard me mention Butch Walker before. Half of Butch Walker's catalog I wish I'd have written. The Wild Hearts. There's so many great Wild Hearts songs. They have on their last album, they had a song called Diagnosis, where the hook was "You Are Not Your Diagnosis," and I was like, oh, that's such a great theme for a song. It's so good. So anyway, that was an answer. There's no answer to that question. Or there's lots of answers to that question. But those are the things that I kind of think about when I'm songwriting. There are certain people where I go, what would Spacehog do with this? What would Butch Walker do with this? What would Brian Wilson do with this? What would Public Enemy do with this? What would Prince do with this? Whatever it is, in the kind of vein that I'm working in, I will always be thinking of, okay, what would they do with this? And then invariably, as it comes out through my own musical sensibilities, it turns into whatever it is that I do. But it's always that starting place back there. So anyway, that's a few of the songs I wish I'd written. There's so many more. I started to look through the 30,000 songs in my music catalog, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to pick some. All right, so there it is, you guys. If you have a question for me that you want me to answer, drop a comment down below this video, or if you don't have a question, that's cool too. That's fine, and we'll talk soon. Bye.